What's up, you guys? This is Coco Jones, and you know I got soul. Period.
Coco, it's crazy because I actually interviewed you back in 2015 when Let 'Em Know came out.
Oh, whoa.
So it's been a long time coming.
Alrighty. That's a blast from the past right there. Well,
Exactly.
thanks for sticking around.
No,
Hey, this
absolutely.
is definitely a good interview. You get to see all the growth.
Yeah, and that was the cool thing was just watching your growth and just like, especially now with the EP out and just seeing all the success you're experiencing. So, I mean, I'll kick off the interview, Coco. You know, we last spoke in 2015. Obviously, a different time for you. So, take me back to a young Coco Jones during when we spoke and, you know, how she would be reacting to this recent success that you've been experiencing.
Man, I mean, very similar in the fact of like, it just kind of feels surreal that all of the things that you work towards are like materializing, you know? And like my prayers have kind of changed. It's more like help me to maintain this and stay grounded and stay grateful instead of like make this happen, please, you know? So I think surreal would be the main emotion. But also I think 2015 me would be less surprised because so much has happened since that year that like humbled me and grounded me that I feel like I'm just more just like shocked that things have turned around so much, you know?
Yeah, that's amazing. And I mean, just talk about that journey for you. 2015, you had kind of left Disney, you went independent, you were trying to figure it out. I think at that time you were just about finished school. So from then until now, finding your sound, discovering yourself as an artist, like what was that process like for you?
Um, it was hard. I mean, I think because I came from a child in the industry type of background, I didn't know my identity. And when kids are in high school figuring it out and like having all these real life experiences and going through, you know, things way beyond their years, I was on set working. So my work ethic was way beyond my years and my business mindset. But personally, I feel like I was a little delayed in figuring out my identity. And so I think that tying into me as an artist made it more difficult to try and categorize what I am because I didn't know personally, and then I didn't know what I wanted to sing about or write about all the time because I'm still figuring out who I am, still living life. But I think there's good and bad to that. The tenacity that I gained from being a child actor made it so that I was going to get to this place regardless. Like, sometimes I look back and I'm like, wow, I really cannot believe I stuck it out. Some of these days were really scary, but I think because I learned so much about rejection and through these auditions and just keeping my faith to like get to those yeses, it kind of helped me to go through this process of finding my artist identity, no matter how long it took.
Wow. And I'll tell you, Coco, so I have my partner Nico on with me, and he is a huge fan of the EP. I am as well. But Nico, why don't you give Coco your thoughts on the EP? I know you have some questions for her about it.
Yeah, cool. It's great to see R&B coming out now that I can actually just get into and just listen to the whole thing and thoroughly enjoy it. And there's a few songs that made me wish I was a girl. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I know
That's hilarious.
I swear. But yeah, no, it's congratulations on it. It's very good, and I just want to know what's the meaning behind the title. Was there a certain message that you had about the whole project?
Yeah, so what I did, well, thank you. Happy that you want to be like, you know, in the community. You're welcome. You're welcome to join. I think what I didn't tell you is really just like my real life stories as I was figuring out who I am. I think so many people, especially now, recognize me from Hilary and from Bel-Air, and they are completely surprised that I sing. And then they're really surprised that I sing well, and they just don't know enough about me. So these are the stories that like are off screen that like, you know, were part of my life and part of my journey of figuring out myself, turning up and, you know, being crazy, adventurous, being in my feelings, being in my bag. Like, these are these stories that are off camera. that I wanted to share.
Wow. So, Coco, just to reference back to our interview in 2015, something that really stood out to me during that time was, you talked about the music that you were making and how you still wanted to do, poppy stuff, but you really wanted to create, R&B music. And when I hear a song like I See You, like, I feel like that's a record that you've wanted to make your whole life, and it finally came together for you. Is that kind of how it was for you as well?
I See You is more a record that chose me more than I chose it. I feel like you said, I did want the bops, and I wanted those things that, like, I could think in my mind, this will definitely chart. Like, this is the formula. I want to follow that formula. But that's not me being authentically me. That's me being strategic and a hustler,
Right.
But, like, when I say I See You chose me, when I heard the music, I couldn't just skip that track and go to, like, the next song that I would think might do numbers. I had to, like, follow the song, follow the music that called me. And I feel like that was one of the times where I was being the most authentically an artist, because I didn't care how popular the song was going to be. I just wanted to, like, express myself and match that beauty that the music presented to me.
Yeah, and I just love vocally what you did on that record. I know Camper, you guys worked a lot together. Like, what was it like in the studio with him?
Camper is such a blast. He's so humble, and he's very creative. Like, some producers, like, they just kind of do what they need to do, but someone like him who can play instruments and, like, really immerse himself in the music and the details is very inspiring to me, because I radiate and match that energy. Like, when I can tell that somebody's, like, ready to just, like, ideate and start an idea off of, like, me opening a soda can and, like, like, whatever we are inspired by, like, we'll figure it out. It just, I feel like it brings out the greatness in the room, and he definitely brings out great things in me.
Wow.
And that kind of leads me to this other question about Double Back. The on that, I love it. Everybody loves Rain. It's it's a hard sample to kill, and I think you did that. So I was curious, what made you choose that beat? And I'm curious if one of your inspirations is SWV.
Well, of course, Coco in SWV. I got to give her the shout out, because there's only a few Cocos around here, okay? But no, I mean, women like the groups SWV, they paved the way for me, so I always draw inspiration from them. I feel like they're the blueprint. London on the Track is who produced that one, and London, basically, he had this kind of similar producer story with me, where they don't know how well I can sing and what I can do, and so they come in there and, like, they show me these beats, and I'm like, LOL, no. And then I'm like, this is what I can do. And then they're like, oh my God. And then they're, like, super creative, and they have all these concepts and ideas. So that's kind of like how our story progressed. And one day I go in the studio, he's like, I have this idea that I've been thinking about it. I created this track just for you. Let's go. And I was like, oh, period. This is fire. And then, yeah, we just knew we made something fire that day. But he started it.
That's interesting. I mean, that kind of goes with this one, too. So, No Chaser. I don't know if I'm overthinking the chorus, but it sounds like Genuine's Pony, the melody in the chorus. So, if it is that, how did that come about? Or just that you could talk about
relation going on up in there. Yeah, no, it was definitely inspired by Pony, for sure. It's definitely Interpolations, for sure. I think what I was going for in the moment of creating that, of putting even that inspiration in the song, was like, I just wanted it to feel like I was carefree and I was in the club. And I don't know what it is about Pony, but it makes me feel like you just, like, on some, like, whatever type stuff. Like, you're just lit. I don't know. It's just, like, such a fun song, and it's like every time you hear it, like, everybody, like, gets all enthusiastic, and it's like it's energy. It's very, like, very urgent. So I think when I was making No Chaser and we were writing it, I kind of just, like, sang the melody, and I wanted to see everyone's reaction, and everyone, like, paid attention. And they were like, what the hell? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I just felt like it just fit the song. It was a fun way to, like, honor the past while, like, keeping that same energy and urgency and, like, talking my stuff.
And Coco, I got to bring up this one. Obviously we have Caliber, my boy Eric Hudson, he produced that one, and I was like, all right, Coco's onto something. But when I heard Headline, and then there was that part where it's like, I'm a landmine, you don't want to see my bad side. I'm like, you got to be able to pull that off if you're going to sing a line like that. Just talk about creating that one.
Uh-huh. Headline, I actually had heard the concept before, and it was sent to me. And at the time, it was perfect. It was a perfect storm because I was already pissed off at a couple people. And so a lot of my songs, like some of them, they do have like that relationship type inspiration, but some of them I'm talking to some of them I'm talking to myself. Some of them I'm talking to like the haters and the doubters or like the opposition. And headline for me, I wasn't necessarily talking about a guy. I'm more talking about people who are doubting me. When I put this one on the EP, it's more like, y'all don't want to see how I turn up. Like, people are doubting me, but when I really get active, I'm a force to be reckoned with. So don't play with me. Play with your kids.
Nice.
I kind of want to shift gears to this Girls Night Out project.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how did it feel to be a part of this, you know, with Babyface, but more importantly, all these women who are like at the top of R&B right now? You know what I mean? It's not like all these nameless people. Like, these are the top of R&B right now. So how did that feel to be a part of that project?
I mean, I was just so beside myself because this project is all the girls. So like, for me, it was just like me checking off one of my goals, just to be recognized as a real R&B type girl. You know, that's what I've really wanted for years, to be considered a real artist and not just an actor who sings. So being in this catalog with these other amazing R&B girls is just like, it's just what I've been hoping for.
Now, Coco, kind of take me through the timeline of when you were collaborating with Babyface and you working on your EP as well, because like what I love about the record you did with Babyface is it has such a big chorus, and that's what we love from our R&B records, those big choruses, those great vocals. Like, did that kind of inspire you when you were creating your EP, or just take me through the timeline? And if it didn't, you know, what did that experience with Babyface, what do you think that helps you with musically going forward?
I mean, learning from Babyface, I really learned how to take my creative choices and run with them and not second guess. I'm such a like overthinker, and like I just want it to all be perfect. But Babyface really, he just let our song come to him. And even though the album was pretty much done and like they had to make due dates and everything, I didn't feel any of that from him. I just felt like, you know, he's a legend for a reason. Like, what is for him, like sonically and musically, is gonna come to the song. Like, there's no need to like be pressed. And I feel like that was one thing I learned. Like, man, I can have a lot more relaxation and still create a bop, because that's what we did.
Right. Right.
I love that. We have one more question before we let you get out of here, Coco. But I do want to say congrats on everything. You know, I see what you're doing.
Thank you.
Watching. So you're a really busy person. Between Fresh Prince, now you got the show with Terrell. Like, you know, you're doing your thing. So how do you balance all that to focus on music?
It's a hard thing to do because I feel like I have two employees. One is my show and one is my music, and they both don't care about the other. They both want me there, you know? So it's hard. I'm not even gonna cap to you. I'm like, wow. Now I'm getting what I prayed for and being like, oh crap. But I think for me, I know what I want at the end of the day. I knew that when Hilary was all over the place, I didn't want people to not have music to also listen to. So that means that I have to be able to compartmentalize and like be present when I'm on set, and then forget all of those characters and those lines and be me, find me, make music that like is timeless and classic, and do that until I can't no more. So like that day, if I've been on set for 15 hours, I may not be able to be in the studio for 8, but those 3 to 5, I'm really going to be like, let's do something meaningful. Like if it's not different, if it's pulling me, if it's not authentic, stop, start from scratch, restart, or like see y'all tomorrow, because I can't like not give my full self to this if I'm going to give my full self to, you know, my show. It's just more about like what's important to me and figuring out ways to do what's important to me to the best of my ability. Yeah.
Wow.
There's no balance to that though. It doesn't look the same at all every day. It looks different every day.
Right. You just have to push through no matter what.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So Coco, that's all that we've got for you. You know, we're really proud of what you've been able to accomplish. Like I said, I spoke to you in 2015, and you know, a lot of artists that I've spoken to from 2015, it's kind of hard, you know, years later to kind of reemerge and be in the position that you are. So we're definitely proud of you for that, and we're looking forward to what you have coming up. So that's all the questions that we had. Is there anything that you'd like to add?
No, you guys asked some really great questions. Thank you guys so much for like sticking around. And I mean, I'm excited for more. You guys saw me when I was singing Let 'Em Know. I was an independent artist.
Yeah.
My mom was my freaking creative director, and we were just trying to make it work. But you know, we're just starting. This is just the beginning. So you guys keep rocking with me.